What is up, YouTube? Yes, I'm shooting from my bed. I feel like being lazy. Anyway, of course, the next segment you'll see that I'm actually on my camera, but today's lesser known but awesome hero, I actually toggled around with many. I thought about Black Knight. I thought about Moon Knight, which was a requested one that you guys have been talking about. I had talked about many, but I think the one that stuck out of my mind, figured I'd do a female character, is, as you can tell in the video, yes, I will be talking about a member of the X-Men, or rather a character associated with the X-Men, but I'm also going to be talking about a character who in the 70s and 80s or so had her own solo comic book series. And yes, this is Allison Blair, also known as Dazzler. Now I did a little bit of research, and from what I can best remember and what I have, she was a cross-promotional multimedia creation between Marvel and an old record company called Casablanca Records, which is now part of the Universal record label. And Dazzler was basically the creation of that. Originally she was going to look like Grace Jones, who I'm sure a lot of you remember from Conan the Destroyer and A View to a Kill, which was a James Bond film. But they instead modeled her after Bo Derek, which actually works out a lot better. For Dazzler, Allison Blair is basically a mutant. I guess I can start there. To give her bibliography, her biography, I've been kind of run rampant the last couple of days, so I do apologize to those of you that I'm sure kind of are wondering why I sound so unenthused. But Blair is a mutant, and she's actually got a pretty cool power. She has the ability to convert sound waves into hard light, meaning that basically she can have a flashbang effect, and she can manipulate this hard light in many different ways. She can make it into a concussive blast. She can do it as a little precision laser. She can throw little daggers, or she can just shoot sparkles out of her hands like Jubilee. Although unlike Jubilees, it's not fireworks and cracklers. But when she debuted, she was basically a disco singer back then, and oh man, Dazzler had the weirdest getup. She had this Kiss-like design for this makeup. She had this blue face makeup, which I'm sure you can see in some of these pictures, especially this one right here. She had blue face makeup that I guess was supposed to be reminiscent of the rock band Kiss. She had a disco ball necklace. She had a little mini speaker that she carried on her wrist. She basically had these diamond crusted roller skates. She had this rhinestone belt buckle. I mean, her outfit was literally made for the 70s. And she was one of Marvel's premier heroines in the 80s, and also she's one of the few characters that has brought together the X-Men, the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man all within the same comic book. She's one of the few solo characters that can actually do that. Or at least on a regular basis, if you will, not during special events and stuff like that. And what's interesting is that she was originally started out as a disco singer, then she turned to rock and adult contemporary. And she hid her mutant ability for many years, except for those that were close to her, and when she came out, that backfired on her. She basically had it destroyed her reputation, her career, and everything. And she ended up joining the X-Men, and she even was offered a spot on the Avengers, and she's basically turned those down. Blair also has a sister whose name is Mortis, and she's evil and jealous of Blair because basically she has a mutant ability that she can basically kill solidified matter, but that's about as far as I really want to go, because that's F.W. Waller's territory for Supervillains Explored. So there you go, Ian. Look up Allison Blair's sister if you want to do a Supervillains Explored on her. And what makes Blair cool is that now that she's a member of the X-Men, Professor X and all of them created a suit that she can now trap like sound wave energy, like store it for like, you know, future impulses and stuff like that. I mean, they've advanced her character, but a lot of it's hearsay and stuff like that. In terms of media, she's appeared in a couple of games, but the most recognized, I'm sure people will remember her from, is the X-Men arcade game that was originally arcade only, and that is now on the Xbox Live Marketplace and the PSN network and whatnot.
X-Men, welcome to die!
And she was also in the Pride of the X-Men pilot cartoon that never really got off the ground. She made a cameo appearance in, I believe, X-Men Evolution and the 90s animated cartoon. You know, Blair's done quite a few things, and she's tangled, and some of the villains that she's faced the Enchantress, she's faced Doctor Doom, she's faced the Hellfire Club. She, at one point, confronted Galactus, fought his Herald Terrax. So Dazzler was a very prominent character, and she still has like a bit of screen time in the X-Men comics, but she's I kind of feel that Blair has been a little bit more obscure than she was like in the late 70s, early 80s, and all that stuff. You know, I'm sorry guys, I'm not going to really get too thorough, because like I said, a lot of it's really hearsay. But what makes Allison Blair the Dazzler awesome? Well, I'll tell you what makes the Disco Dazzler, as they call her, you know, quite awesome, is simply because she started out as a conceptual, like, crossover multimedia character, and Marvel ended up changing her, you know, around, but even then, she is still a very popular member of the X-Men, I feel, a very underrated female character, and certainly a character much like, you know, Black Knight and Silver Surfer and many other characters, that I think she deserves another solo run. I think she at least deserves that, because her character is very interesting. And that is it, guys. That is Dazzler.